how much air is there.
And we're live. Like it's,
Oh, are we?
yeah, we are now. Man.
Oh, shoot. I'm ponytailing my hair, man.
I'm trying to pull up my Perform Age deck list. Hold up.
So viewers can't see it, but this is an assault on my eyes as how bad Discord's stuttering because of OBS.
Yeah.
You know, it's an assault on my eye. The meme that you have posted here that's just playing on repeat.
I love it.
Okay, I need to scroll up. Okay.
There we go.
It's so distracting. And this time, actually, we're doing the podcast, I think. You said we're recording, right?
Yeah, we are.
But this time, I actually have it on my screen and not off to the side here. Because for some reason, like the other podcast, I could see that I'm kind of looking over here because I have it on my other screen. My webcam's right here.
I pulled up OBS and I'm looking at it just through the call through OBS because I can't stand on Discord it's stuttering. So I just made OBS larger so I didn't see it. But the viewers, like I said, they can't see anything, so we're good on that front. How was your guys' day?
By the way, Josh, the meme you put in the last episode that we posted up.
Which one?
10 out of 10 on the draw.
Wait. Which one? Which meme?
God, you did
the Smiling Friends
one.
Oh yeah, that one.
Like, I was sitting there and like when I'm watching this video, I'm like, I wonder what meme he's gonna use for that. Because let's be real, that's a legitimate thing. And like that popped up, and I went, as soon as it popped up, I went, he went with this one? Oh, I'm so pleasantly surprised.
Good old zero sugar unknown soda that we're not sponsored, so they don't get a shout out. But
oh, you're actually drinking the zero sugared stuff too now, huh?
I do every now and then. Or is it not
by choice?
No, I do every now and then anyway, because sometimes I think the zero sugar stuff just tastes better.
But it does. It's less, like, of all things, like, after I quit drinking a lot of sodas and stuff, soda's really sweet. So I have to drink, like, the diet ones. On the plus side, I don't know if they've changed how they made diet soda, but it no longer has that weird aftertaste.
Zero sugar never had it, but like diet specifically does sometimes still. So
yeah, like, but I drank a diet Pepsi today. 10 out of 10. Like, I could not tell it was a diet Pepsi.
So yeah, my day was just normal chores and stuff, and like normal stuff you got to get done. Laundry, a little bit of packing because we're going to go to the YCS, and then dishes, and then trash, all normal stuff. Filling up water bottles, or water jugs, and everything like that.
I've been working all day. That's what I do.
I went
to work all day.
I went to our OTS, got some of the hero cards because I knew Evil Hero support looks fun. Not really good, but fun is the word I'll use.
Yeah. I don't think that solves that new support doesn't solve like any of the problems heroes have at all.
No, but it is fun. I'll say it is fun to combo off with heroes. Any support they get.
Remember when heroes used Bubble Man and made Bahamut Shark so that they can make Toad?
I do. Funny
well, now we have Dark Bubble Man.
Yeah, we have the evil version who is actually
Dark Bubble Man.
Who is actually Neo Bubble Man, which is like the Metamorphosis one. He has the N on his belt like Neo does. I saw memes on it that he has because he has the N. I'll let you and the audience figure out what kind of memes they were posting.
Oh no, I've seen the memes. I've posted the memes. Not the memes of that, but the memes when people mention it. And I have oddly specific memes to react to that one. Even I was impressed when I popped up into my little meme folder and went, I have one for this.
Yeah.
You would have one for that.
It's so funny to hear, though, that like, well, that was funny. The new support, I think overall for Evil Heroes is pretty cool. I think that like overall for hero pile decks, it's probably gonna get like 2 or 3 cards out of the like for the main deck ones. None of the extra deck ones really pop out to me. Like even the like big boss X evil hero thing, I think Malicious Bane is a better evil hero boss than the one that just steals all your stuff. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I know the hero players have been wanting to use the Infernal Wing card, Infernal Backlash, whatever. They've been wanting to play that, and I've seen them playing.
I've seen
really good.
I've seen because a couple of the evil heroes are light, right? And they're fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of them just summons
one of
deck.
them just searches the Dark Fusion too, right?
Yeah, it's a Juster.
Yeah, or Dark Calling.
Yeah, and I think I watched. Well, no, I know I did because if I remember right, when I was playing at my locals, the one of the players was playing a deck that was using that as an engine to get the Dark Fusion. And what deck was that? Chimera deck.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And you do all this stuff, and it like doesn't really lock you in or anything.
Yeah.
So you can also just pivot right into the Fiendsmith stuff if you didn't draw it.
Yeah,
and I'm just sitting there going,
yeah, if you're
that's pretty cool.
If you're only running like a Duster Gold, you can do that. But like but almost every evil hero and regular hero card lock you for the full turn, not like for the rest of the turn. I think like Fusion Destiny is like one of the exceptions of that. So like it's
Dark Fusion doesn't lock you, does it?
No.
No.
So yeah, that's
Dark Fusion doesn't. Dark Calling doesn't. Like the evil heroes support, like the fusion ones don't, because with Dark Fusion you can fuse any fiend monster with it.
Yeah. And then they can't like Imperm or Veiler it either.
Yeah, because
it can't be targeted.
Yeah, because a monster summon it can't be targeted. Like that, it's like if you're using it just to get like that though, it feels like it's just a worse King of the Swamp. But King of the Swamp is only good in certain decks anyway. So maybe, I don't know.
It seemed like a pretty neat engine thing he was running. I'll probably look into it on Thursday when I do locals again. And actually pay attention to what he's doing with his combo other than going, yeah, I'm just going to break your board and win because Sprite. Or I'm going to set up a board and not let you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless you're tier limit.
That was fun. It was funny. Last night, I was in call with Stefan, and he was like, "Are you even getting enough practice?" I'm like, "You want to?" And then I just like jumped in to play with him, and then I broke his board and beat him. And I was like, "See, I still got it."
It feels like I'm doing so much practicing, which is hilarious because I really should be streaming some of that practicing because I've had some really cool stuff happen and I've done some really cool stuff. But like, I'm doing all this practicing, and for once, I'm not getting bored, but I'm scared because I have not faced the meta deck yet.
Oh, I'll put it together. And
no one has actually sat down and went, Fire Fiendsmith, try and beat me.
I'll build the deck. I'll play it against you.
All these other Fiendsmith decks that I've faced, and all these other decks that I've faced, I'm sitting here going, I mean, how awful could the meta deck be if I just shut them down completely? And
you want to find out?
Don't let them. Yeah, I do. And it's like, and don't let them get to the recursion or anything. I mean, So, I mean, I do need to practice against that.
So, I guess something we could talk about as well is we can bring up the whole Fiendsmith thing. With the ban list pretty much being confirmed to come out in late August, which will probably be after this YCS, which is happening towards the middle, probably the week after the YCS Sacramento. You guys have any like predictions? I guess I'm not gonna say like, oh, what's your and everything your wish list or whatever, but like, because I don't think Wanted's getting hit because it got announced for a reprint. But now the Snake Eye cards.
Dante's girlfriend has gained the hit.
Beatrice.
Beatrice. I can't call her the other name that I was calling her because that's a little insensitive.
Can't do that. Actually, I was making a video on this because surprise, I'm gonna start my own channel. Screw you guys. No, I'm kidding. But
just post it up on ours. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm gonna have my own channel for my own unhinged content. But
yeah, unhinged content.
unhinged takes and everything. But I will say, Moon of the Closed Heaven, I feel like is gonna get that ban. I think it's a common.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the thing is
they've done similar shit. Look at Wakaushi, damn it.
They did, and that might be correct.
Or I guess
but I feel like they still want Fiendsmith to do stuff. They just have to hit some of the payoff stuff.
I think you hit Beatrice.
And I think that Beatrice is probably... Whenever Beatrice gets played in Yu-Gi-Oh! On a competitive level, it's never anything that's fair. It has never been anything that is fair.
See, decks can still do Fiendsmith stuff. They'll just have to play... They'll just have to draw the Engraver or the Tract and then get the Lurie.
Yeah, I guess. I think that, like, so... With Beatrice, specifically, the only deck it's ironically fair in is Burning Abyss. And that's just because she blows up the names because she's not a Burning Abyss monster. And she can't use her effect the turn you summon her in Burning Abyss. So ironically, she's like... That's her...
BA is like this. It's like straight up everyone else. We're abusing her effect and summon her the way we want to. BA. We worship her. We cannot stand on the same ground as her, and we will wait for her to use her effect.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we
will wait Beatrice. For our angel.
We errata Beatrice in just the way that you just errata the materials, make it 4 level 6 monsters.
Don't like
milady.
That'd be awful. I don't like erratas.
So
I don't either.
Completely against it. If you ban a card, just leave it on the list forever, retrain it, move on. Because as much as the game shifts around, I don't think it's correct to do that to cards.
I think
I get it with some of them, like with Anime Protag Firewall Dragon.
Yeah.
I guess. Like, that thing, there was no way that thing was ever coming back. Like, it is just an FTK in itself.
That's a hell of
how they fixed it was fine, but and they had to do that because main Protag's card, and people love playing that stuff. Exceptions like that I can understand, but there are some where, Chaos Emperor Dragon, he didn't need to be fixed. Just leave him banned.
He didn't need his nuts chopped off. It's fine.
So I think certain erratas are good, and
Sangan should never have been.
I'm gonna fight you on that because I think Sangan and Witch's erratas are good. They still feel like them, and even if you play them in old formats with those effects, they still don't come up enough because of how slow older formats are, and they still feel like the same card. Chaos Emperor Dragon, I agree. It shouldn't have been errated because it doesn't feel like the same card. Neither does Ring of Destruction doesn't really feel like the same card. Neither does Crush card.
Sister Serpent. Sister Serpent
got
a retrain, and then they fixed it.
And
yeah,
Imperial Order is still funny because it's the only card to get like an actual errata that changes what the effect is to nerf it, and then they had to ban it again because it was still good.
You dumb.
That one right there falls under my exception list where they knew they screwed up, but then they were like, let's fix it by just making people burn out on every standby phase and non-optional. And people were like, okay, the game is still over.
Yeah.
Once again, I just should have just left it banned.
It has the same issue. Well, so, like, it has the same issue that Vanities had, right? Where Vanities, in theory, is actually a fair card, but it's not a fair card because what ends up happening is you set up a whole board before, and then you flip Vanities, and then that's the game. Whereas, in theory, it should be fair because, oh, look, it's easy to out, but it's not because I have, like, the negates to stop you from shutting it off.
You have to run outs for it.
Yeah. And you had to main deck outs too. Like, I remember people were main decking MST when everybody was playing 3 Vanities and everything like that. doing that, and because there wasn't a ton of back row hate, some were even playing like the 3 of MST, sometimes Dust Tornado, and like specifically like BA decks, and like Galaxy Cyclone. Or not Galaxy Cyclone, Galaxy...
No, you're right.
Okay, yeah. Gotta say, yeah, Galaxy Cyclone, not Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic
Galaxy's
is the one that banishes.
Pop a set when it activates Banish from the Grave to pop a face up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you can't use both effects in the same turn.
Can't use both effects.
That card sucked.
Played that one in PA.
Night Beam also saw play. Like, because we needed to have that many back row cards. Because Harpies and...
Night Beam, that was a wild time. Like, when Night Beam actually was viable, that was pretty wild. Because so much of the traps felt like they were so versatile that you had to activate the Night Beam and go, we're targeting that. And they would go, yeah, I respond with this so I can respond with that. And now it feels like that Night Beam was, 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't have an answer, it was a 1 for 1 that couldn't be responded to. So it... But God, that era too had stuff like you could just Thunder King Ryo and just sit on a Ryo.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we have outs to that kind of shit. Especially
you remember when
Mystic Mind format?
Oh yeah. You remember when Twin Twister first came out and everybody was just playing? Everyone who could afford it was playing it because it was expensive.
It was a $10 super, man.
I got in on it when it was $2.
It went from like $2 to like 20 something, and then it fell back down to 10 eventually, and then it got reprinted in the Dinosaur Structure deck. And that was like one of
that card was cracked though. And that card still springs up. Like, you still see it spring up in lists where they just go, oh, you're doing that? Twin Twist. And then they just keep playing.
If I had to pick a card to ban, though, it's definitely Beatrice.
Beatrice is bannable.
If I had to pick a card specifically from Snake Eyes to ban, it would either... It would be Flamebird. I could honestly... You could make an argument for the Promethean Princess as well.
No,
I think you can.
No, because she got announced for reprint too.
Yeah, well, okay, but yeah, none of like I said, none of the like actual Snake Eye cards outside of Wanted and Diabelle Star herself have been announced for a reprint in the tins. But to me, that just means that they're gonna leave those legal because Diabelle Star lore is happening. That's my little tinfoil hat conspiracy. Because we're getting more Diabelle Star archetypes. She's the next Visa, Starfrost, and Albaz.
You're not the only one complaining that we still have the Dia-Star meta, but that and that the storyline's still going on because, you had... I think I watched a Joshua Smith video where he's like, yeah, they really shouldn't have gone that hard with their story card right now because it is just so abusive in the game. It's hard to hit that.
Or at least
kill the deck and be able to sell products still.
Or at least do what like the Albaz stuff did, where it was like each deck didn't work with the others.
Yeah, like they had like
Albaz didn't work with Springans or Tri-Brigade.
Yeah, but they're like one of their random ass fusion monsters that can work with it. Kinda is in there that summons Albaz.
And kits everywhere, like kits in every artwork too.
Kits in every archetype.
Kit is like that because Kit joins Albaz and Ecclesia for the journey.
The great part about Kit, my favorite part about Kit is that she's in Sprine's artwork. I've played with that card since it's come out. Did not notice it before. Someone pointed it out to me, and
I pointed it out because there's a lot of jokes.
Yeah, you did.
Because there's a lot of memes and stuff that she's racist towards the sprites. That I've seen that everything.
Look, everyone hates Sprite. I've gone to a locals. I've played Paleozoic where like the games are going longer because of me.
To be fair,
like, we're going into time basically every round. Everyone's like, "This is fine. Yeah, you're having fun. It's a stupid deck, but you're still a fun guy." I sit there and play Sprite, and people are just like, "Oh, I just lose and I don't get to play." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a fair deck. I'm sorry."
As I've said before, Sprite is the exact type of deck that Yugi boomers complain about.
Yep. And you know what? Let them complain.
I love highlighting it.
It is the pinnacle of it. Oh, my deck
everything.
takes forever and summons a million times. It also has crazy card advantage, and it summons like 4 or 5 negates.
Here's one for you. You ever been doing your combos in a Yu-Gi-Oh deck and you've set your hand right here and you're just playing with the cards that you're grabbing from the deck and summoning, and then you lose track of your hand and you kind of pick it up and go, where'd these cards come from? Oh, that's the cards I opened up with.
Back played Volcanic Snake Eye, it was like that.
Volcanic Snake Eye was pretty interesting.
It's a fun deck. I'm happy and sad I got rid of my Wanteds, Diabell Stars, and everything when I did.
Still don't think that this ban list is going to be super huge, but there is things that they need to hit. I don't think we're going to get a game reset. At least I hope we don't. Maybe we'll get Roan-Tone back. I can be trusted with one Roan-Tone.
I have like 5 super rares. Bring it.
Give me Kit Kalos. I can be trusted with her.
Ban Sanctifier and I'll be happy.
Like the Roan-Tone's great, man. It's just we have a better card than Roan-Tone now, anyways. It's fine.
My hot take is that if they leave Snake Eyes as is, you can bring back Kit to 1, Kit Kalos to 1, and my only and this is from I am biased, I will say, but without the mill part of the Ishizu cards, with all those banned, remember, before the Ishizu cards at all, Tier was like Tier was the best deck still. It got the most tops. It didn't technically win a YCS during this time, but it got the most like tops, technically. But it was considered a fair deck until the Ishizu cards came out. So you could
then
make
it
the
stopped
argument.
being fair.
Yeah.
I've played against that deck more times than a person ever should play against it at full power with underwhelming deck.
But I guess we can.
That rising tier was awful.
Yeah, I bet. No.
I don't want to go through that.
But I guess we could talk about people quitting. 'Cause the only person I've ever seen of note to quit is Jessica. She's the only person from like that's a pro scene that's quit. I've seen a lot of the pros complain about the pricing, but Jessica's the only one I've actually seen like actually go through with quitting. So
like I've seen some of the pros say that they're taking a break or moving to another game until something changes. And it's just like, I get if you don't like the game right now.
Favorite part is if someone says, and they do say it like, well, if people just stop going to events, if all the good players stop going to events, they'll have to change their ways. Nah, you have people like me that go, wait, I can top?
Yeah.
I saw that
go to this event and beat all of these people that aren't pros.
I saw the take that if enough people do boycott, they won't they'll actually suffer. And my argument against that is the players that would the people that would boycott are not the players that are going to go to events anyway. And the ones that are going to sit there and boycott the current situation that we're in Yu-Gi-Oh, which in my honest opinion is not as bad as people are making it out to be. It's just another bad format and everything. We've had millions of those. So it's like, but if you...
The bad format has never ended.
We get
on a regional level, the event feels, or the format felt fine, but that's because you're not seeing all of the super top decks every single round, right?
I'm going to say it. The last time the format was good was when Snake Eye first came out, like before Poplar came out. Last time it was a good format.
I didn't play
enough. Last time it was a healthy format.
I didn't play enough during that format to like actually form an opinion. And like when I saw all the quote unquote like diverse decks and everything, I went, I don't think I would like this. Because I'm usually not a fan of all the like when the meta has like 8 decks that are relevant. I think that's actually ends up being a problem. Not because that many decks are actually relevant, but because what ends up happening is most of those decks are kind of the same, but just like with a slightly different flavor, and it reminds me of the 2021 the year 2021 before Tier Limit Sprite came out.
Oh, the Hulk combo decks.
There's Hulk combos, there was DPEs, there was Adventure, there was Branded and Sword Soul. And out of all these decks, there's also a few punk lists running around, and there's Prank Kids running around. But I want to say there's 7, so that's 7 decks I mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Half of these, except almost all of these 5, except for Branded and Sword Soul, you could say were DPE Scythe Lock decks. It was
same inboard, different ways to get to it.
It was an illusion of choice, is what it was, and and most diverse formats diverse formats are like that. It is a thing of choice. Edison happens to be an exception to this, but Edison actually does have one best deck. People just don't want to acknowledge that the one best deck truly is Blackwings. But that is my opinion. I don't like Edison, even though I like Blackwings, I don't like Edison. I don't like GOAT format, because GOAT is not a triangle. It is not as skill intensive as people think it is.
No one's playing GOAT control in GOAT really anymore either. It's just become Chaos.
Well, Chaos Warrior ended up, which is like ironically, the best deck before it as well, ends up being the best thing in GOAT. So it's just one of those things. But that's my take on diverse formats. I think the last one I truly had fun with, besides Tier Limit, and my biasness in tier. So before that was Secaucus, I think. Actually, no, because after Secaucus, because I still was on Troop Dupe Scoop for a while. But Secaucus format was like the birth of Troop Dupe Scoop, because it gave us 3 card Trooper, I believe. So
the meme, the thing that you were like, I was like, so if Trooper comes back to 3, we're playing Troop Dupe Scoop. And then it came back, and I think I messaged you when it came back, and I was like, we're doing it, right? And you're like, already working on it.
That deck took me so long to actually.
It's a great deck, though.
Yeah, to actually get it. It can't compete nowadays, right? So like it is one of those things that I would have to completely. It'd be like worst tier limits at like if I really tried it. That's what it would be. But it would be like those formats, and that's just because I like Troop Dupe Scoop. Before that though, I would think the last like truly good format was I did like Zodiac, because even though I played enough again, I played against Zodiac a few times. I actually didn't feel like it was that bad to play against. So I don't like Toss that much. I know that there's a lot of people that love Toss, and my take on that is that I don't think Toss. This turned into a format rant. But I don't.
I love Toss. Fuck you.
It's just a format. We're doing a freaking series on formats.
Yeah, calm down. We're gonna get to Toss in 80 years. I'll edit.
A joke in that video though was that it'll be about 2 years before we get to.
I'm gonna be in the retirement home editing videos still, and then we'll finally be at Toss.
Toss format.
Hell, we haven't recorded in so long.
We haven't needed to because we have such a high backlog on that series.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
no, I'll say, you know what? Screw you. I'm taking the floor for a second.
It's all yours.
The format where the Snake Eyes engine first came out, like it was an engine that you'd play in Volcanic or Rescue Ace or Fire King. That was a good format because you just had those 3, or I guess Volcanic wasn't really in the top 3. But you had Snake Eyes, Rescue Ace, and Fire King as like the top 2. They had like Pearly as number 3. And that was a good format. I'll say it.
I played Pearly.
That's also
like Fire King and Rescue Ace played enough. Yeah.
That's like
Horus
had a few tops. Horus had a few tops. I also remember people the tier limit group going, we're so back because tier got a few more tops in that again because of the Horus stuff.
You got the Horus cards.
Yeah. And then you get people.
I love the timeline of tier. It's just drop and then suddenly
it's
good
so
players
back
just go back. It's a heartbeat at this point when you look at the statistics on tier.
Yeah. Right now it's pretty much only the like really good players are gonna top with tier. And that's just because the way that tier plays is it's fundamentally at full power would still be the most unfair deck. But
slap some Fiendsmith in it and call it a deck. Yeah. I'm surprised more tiers not topping.
Like I said,
this deck is that good.
It's not
pilot
amazing.
Intensive deck.
It is a pretty pilot intensive deck. If you like think about it, we got one on the feature match, or the two that like topped recently. One of them is pretty much from the Rescue Ace format, is pretty much what it's called, with the snake eyes and stuff like that, and Rescue Ace as an engine and all that. One of them did like pretty much had the exact list from there. They weren't playing, like, one was playing Horus and one was playing the Fiendsmith, and then like the guy that actually got the top was playing the non-Horus version of the deck that got a top back in like Germany, or like the German thing, like the German Nats and all that. His deck list was almost the same as that. It had the Maliciouses for Beatrice instead, and it had this, and he was like, I just played a deck that I knew. That's how I got here, pretty much. And I think that that's pretty much what it would be. But as far as pros quitting, being the reason being like prize pool, I'm more surprised that the prize pool is such a big contention, because if they've been playing long enough to, like, most of them have been playing long enough that shouldn't be a surprise. We've had like bad prizing compared to other card games for years. I put bad in quotation marks because, in my opinion, I don't think this game needs to be played for cash. I can make a whole video, and I probably will make a video talking about what I think you should and shouldn't do for events, including travel, absurdly, like, go all the way across the world or even across the country in order to get to these events. I don't think it's personally like necessary. Unless you live in the middle of nowhere and you just want to go to a big event. I mean, I'm sorry for you then.
But Michael, I traveled for the World Championship qualifier that one.
Wait till the nationals. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I think the only time, like, if you make it to Nats or Worlds, right, if you get your invite for there, I think then
that's fine.
Then you have an argument. But the people that just go to YCS,
thinking Vegas would be fun. I think Vegas would be fun. That's once again,
not too far from Sacramento. We're gonna do it.
It's a great. It's like, I feel like that would be a great trip. So like, I get what you're saying. Don't travel for it, but if you're going somewhere where it's going to be exciting, even without the Yu-Gi-Oh event, that's what you should be doing. Treating it as a hobby.
Like, we can kill a weekend in Vegas.
So I think it also depends.
Don't enter the main event. Only enter side events. Rest of your time in Vegas, you go gambling.
Okay, so
bet it all.
No,
risk your plane ticket home.
No, okay. My thing about it is, if you are gonna travel for events, you shouldn't just travel for that event. You should make it like like an actual vacation. Oh, I'm gonna play in the event, but I'm also gonna spend a couple days and everything like that, maybe, to go see the sights around the city or something like that. I think the most you should travel for an event, if you're not gonna do that, is like a 2 or 3 hour drive. I think that's like how, because we're like I'm like 2.5 hours from Seattle, and I'm like 2 hours from Salem and all that, and so like it's a decent distance still for drive wise. And if to the non-Americans that watch ours, like, I'm pretty sure Rat's not American and he like listens to everything and watches almost everything we do. uh, the reason Americans do stuff by time is because if I said something is 5 miles away, which is like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 kilometers or something like that, maybe closer to 10.
I don't know. I don't speak European.
Yeah, but if we went by like actual distance, that doesn't tell us how long someone is actually gonna be here. Like if they're like, "Oh, where are you?" "Oh, I'm like 10 miles away." That means two different things depending on where you at. So
Yeah.
for where we live, 10 miles away by car, let's say, is not a far distance because we all live. They live in a city. I live in a rural area, but we don't live in like major cities. We don't like none of us three live in major cities and towns and stuff like that to the point where a 10-mile drive or 10-minute drive or whatever is actually like that big of a thing. But if you lived in like LA or Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, or New York City, and you're like, "Oh, I'm like 3 miles away by car," you won't see them for, depending on the time of day, you're not going to see them for hours. So
Yeah.
because of how bad traffic is. So like that's why we measure by time usually. Just a clarification, because I've seen people go, "Why do Americans say their distance in time instead?" Because it is a more accurate
It makes more
representation.
sense.
It's a more accurate
It's
representation because our
it's our
country is so big.
measuring. It's our measuring, and we won't standardize things, so we'll measure distance in anything but actual distance measurements.
But I think that
Yeah.
overall, for the quitting, the valid argument, I think, is if you're just not having fun with the current format, maybe you take a break. But if you want to like quit and everything, I don't think prizing is a very good thing about it. Like I think because at the end of the day, this is a hobby, and most hobbies are just money sinks. There's something for you to enjoy, and if you're not enjoying your hobby, by all means, that like I think that's probably good for you and your mental health to just stop playing it if you're no longer enjoying it. But if you are enjoying it still, but you're just upset because you're putting all this time and effort and you're just not getting paid, you don't want a hobby. You want like another job, is what you're saying, at least to me.
Want more out of life.
Yeah.
Is what. Yeah.
Because like, granted, I think I would be upset too if my whole life was I'm gonna go to event after event and all I'm winning is like a Nintendo Switch, which I already own. But
listen, I do agree. Pricing needs to be better, but doesn't not need to be cash.
I don't believe in cash pricing. The problem is
special rarity
the people
available the prize card.
The people that you draw in with cash pricing are not the kind of people that we want in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well,
because what happens is then that means that people will get more sponsorships that actually have money on the line, and what bigger sponsors will do is own a whole side of a market so that their competition can do the best. The game would get way more expensive. The value would go up because owning all the stock on certain cards and saying them at ridiculous numbers to pay to get the entry into it and have to have someone sponsor you is how you control a competitive game like Yu-Gi-Oh would, like Yu-Gi-Oh. If it was a cash thing, it's how you would gatekeep people out of it so that you can be sponsored by the shops. Like, here's the cards you need that are worth this much money because we all own a market on it, and your common player has a harder time going up into the ranks.
And on the flip side of that, if people like, so if they start offering cash prize, right, and our base card thing does go up like you say, the solution that a lot of people would say is, well, give us more reprints or give us lower rarity versions of the staple cards in order to offset it so people can still play. The problem is that still gets people to quit, because now you have what when you make something actually like play for money, because this happens in Magic too. And as someone who played Magic for 10 years, I've known people that quit because their cards are decreasing in value and it doesn't feel but product prices are still going up and everything because of inflation and because of demand, because their pricing is you have and everything like that. I've known people who quit because, oh, I opened up a $50 card out of a booster pack. Good for me. But that's only because I opened up a $50 card out of said booster pack and normally back in the day it would be even more, but it's only 50 because there's like 8 printings of this one card, and a booster pack's no longer like $4 anymore. It's like somewhere between 5 and like 20 for Magic and stuff like that. So like the $50 one's probably in the $20 pack, so you're not actually making that much. It's like a whole chain thing, because what happens then is people start hoarding cards, like Stefan said. And it's making Konami money because they're buying products so they can start hoarding these cards so that, they can own a market or something like that on it. Then what happens is when Konami goes, oh, people want to play our game, but they can't afford to play it and everything because people keep buying stuff. Well, we're just going to reprint stuff to, to the point where it's not worth anything. Well, those people that are actually giving Konami a ton of money now are going to leave. And then Konami's going to see a price dip, and they're going to panic because, they're not making as much money all of a sudden, even though it's this weird cycle. And it's something that happened in Magic. I think it happens in other things.
And that's how you get a reserve list.
Yep. And
what you just explained is what happened to Magic.
Yeah.
And so we've seen exactly what happens. It all spirals. You lose the faith in the collectors and the people buying it and all this other stuff. And and then you go, shoot, we'll never reprint these.
And then it becomes an issue because they're never going to reprint the cards that need to be reprinted. So, like, after a while.
And then you get set rotations.
Almost what the quarter century cards have been. Like, the cards are exclusively quarter century and, like, 10,000 Dragon. Like, they're never printing those again.
I think Magia will get printed again. I don't...
Okay, except Magia. I keep forgetting about Magia. But I mean, like, the Magician, like, the Bond of Magicians or whatever that have been coming out in every core set. And, like, the new Dragon that came out in this last one. And 10,000 Dragon.
But personally, I think that this is just me. As a competitive player, I think it's fine if they have those, because I'm never getting those cards anyway, because I don't want those cards because they're useless. So
those are for actual collectors.
Yeah, and that's what I'm.
There is people that will love the hell out of that card just because it's a collector kind of thing. They'll slab it, they'll do all that stuff, and I love that. That's like the beautiful part of trading card games is that there are cards that aren't relevant like that can be collected. And
my issue is Magia.
Yeah, but at least Magia is not a amazing card. Like,
it's not a must own, but it's a usable card.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Stuff coming out like that's. We had the Blue Eye support coming out.
You don't need Magia in that deck. I'll say.
No, but I feel like it would the set would have sold better if not better, but like it would have felt better.
Yeah, probably. I think that Magia, by the time we get the Blue Eye structure deck, which will be sometime next year.
I think it's gonna be December.
Okay, but December, late this year, sometime next year, I guess, because we only got one structure deck this year. So you're right; it might be December. We only got
Did we even get a structure deck?
Have we even gotten a new deck this year?
We haven't gotten a structure deck this year. Fire King was November last year, October.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think we've gotten a new one this year. We've not done a single one this year.
I got this.
Look that up real quick because I'm thinking about it and I was like,
I'm going to.
Because that's interesting. Because
I think it's going to be November. Yeah, the last one was Fire King, December last year.
Oh, wow.
Wow, we're in August?
That is...
Yeah. No structure decks.
That is strange. because usually
I'm telling you, it's probably gonna be like October.
I never even thought about that because that's usually where we get a lot of the good reprints too that make things worth doing. Like
so
OCG has had so many of those like tournament ready decks and stuff put out, and we're just like
they had that Cyber Dragon one.
Nothing this year.
Oh.
Which I love the concept of tournament ready decks. I loved it because Magic did the same thing and it was actually pretty neat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. So the Magic ones started out really, really good, and then they stopped making them good because they printed the deck either way too late into the standards like lifespan to the point that the deck that was good has already been power crept, or if it's not power crept, it's it's like already got cards that are on the standard ban list and stuff. Your camera died, Josh. But
I know. I just need a second.
Okay.
I figured Josh died.
But
I'm dead.
But one of the first like game days I did really, really well at, I bought one of those and had most of the rest of the cards for that deck anyway, and stuff like that because I did some drafts. And I got second at that game day, and I won 2 drafts that day. And game day is like, back in the day, I don't know if Magic still does it. I think they stopped. I might be wrong on that because it's been a while since I played.
I don't think they do it. They do something weird or different now.
Yeah,
and
so
like it no longer is pushing standard either. I think they can basically pick what kind of event they want to do.
Yeah, so but what used to happen is that like every standard, like a week or two after the set came out, there was a game day to promote standard and the new set and stuff like that. And it was usually a decently big tournament for locals, right? Our locals usually had around 30 to 40 people that always showed up to game day. And maybe average local tournament would have been like 12. But like game day, for whatever reason, is like 30 or 40 and everything. So the pricing is really good. I got second and everything in it, and beat a lot of the good players and stuff like that in it. Then I did a draft and I played limited and stuff like that. But all I did was I bought one of those, and then I used some of the cards I already had from playing the pre-release and got second and did well. I could have won if I didn't make like 1 or 2 misplays as well. I think that those like ready decks, like those try decks that the OCG has, is brilliant. But it's so weird to me. We keep going off on tangents that we haven't gotten structure decks because usually we get like 2 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where all the reprints come from. And I know we haven't gotten any because none of my old like boomer friends who still kind of keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Haven't messaged me and went, dude, I just bought this starter deck or this structure deck and got these cool freaking hand trap cards and stuff that I didn't have before. These things are cool. I'm going to buy and hoard them.
Yeah, I know the last one was Fire King December.
It's crazy because usually they do that. And like I think about that too because that Fire King one had Droll and Lockbird in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Fire King one.
Yeah,
had
it did
Droll
because that's how Michael got his 3 copies of it. Because
what's crazy is that
you got mine, and then one of the opponents you faced, I think you bought the rest of it off of them.
I gave him my entry cards for the main event because we dropped to do a side event.
Oh yeah.
I said,
that's what
I just want like these, and then they're like, that's fine, because they're like, I already have 3 of them, but I'd rather have some of the new set. I'm like, all right, sweet. But
what's crazy is that like not even 3 months before the Fire King one, we got the Crimson Dragon.
Yeah,
not the Crimson Dragon, but the
Jack
Red
Atlas.
Dragon Archfiend one.
Yeah, Red Dragon Archfiend Jack Atlas one, and then
did that one have anything good in it other than the or the non-playable card?
I don't know. Hey, we don't talk about the non-playable card. That's me.
You're not everyone's king, though.
I am in the group chat.
I
am in the group chat.
What's your best Jack Atlas impression?
Didn't have like.
I summoned Red Dragon Archfiend.
Yeah, it's awful.
I know, it was terrible.
It's awesome in my Red Dragon Archfiend.
Stardust Dragon's a bitch. I'm sorry, I'm allowed to swear.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think so.
We're deep enough into the podcast.
All right.
That's a good question. I want to say like Ash Blossom was in it, but I'm not 100% sure.
One sec. I had the structure deck page pulled up. I'll look at it.
Because like that's really the genius part of starters and structures is getting the reprints into the hands of people that can't otherwise afford them.
I mean,
I used to be a real
Backpack
jerk
was-
and say that poor people shouldn't have nice cards, but now that I'm basically poor all the time, I am very happy that they print enough that I can afford.
Extravagance was in there. A couple of the dangers. Nothing crazy. Battle Fader, let's go. But nothing crazy. I mean,
come on.
Wandering King Wildwind.
It's his freaking boss hand trap. Of course, you're going to have a Battle Fader reprint in it.
Okay.
Wandering King Wildwind was a good reprint because it was like an $8 card for no reason.
Okay.
Let that sink in. Yusei gets Effect Veiler.
Jack Ellis gets Battle Fader.
Battle Fader. And they're kind of opposites to each other.
Yeah.
But just the impact of both is so different.
Both have seen enough meta play that it's like
yeah, they've seen enough meta play to relevant, but it's like it's so weird to think that I get Effect Veiler and it's I get this battle stopping thing. Even though he is big caveman Chungus punch him in face, he still has a card that stops the battle. And Yusei has a card that just stops an effect or just stops you dead in your tracks.
Also
when you're like,
Swift
he's
Scarecrow
a very
at one point too.
And I think that he's a fair play Yu-Gi-Oh guy, but he's got the Effect Veiler. And it's just like, it's so cool that they actually, anime-wise, kind of gave them a twist, a little bit of a twist to their character by giving them cards like that. Because you wouldn't expect either one of them to be running cards like that. You'd actually think it'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
You'd be more expected to see Jack Atlas go, no, you don't get to do that. And Yusei be like, nah, I'm just going to stop the battle so I can do more bullshit things to survive.
Was there 3 structure decks last year then?
There was... No.
Okay.
Wait, no, yes.
Yeah.
No, yes, there was. There was Fire King in December, the Red Dragon Archfiend in September, and then all the way back in February last year, there was the Trap Tricks.
Okay, so the Trap Tricks is the one that actually had the staples in it then. Because the Trap Tricks
Trap Tricks and Fire King were goated staples.
No, the Trap Trick is so goated because you bought a few of them, didn't you, Michael?
I bought 3 exactly for the same.
I was sitting there and I was like, I need this card. And you go, I have 3 of them. And I go, why do you have 3 of them? You're like, Trap Trick deck. At this point, if I ask you for a card and you just go, I have it, I just assume it came in the Trap Trick deck.
It's funny because some of the cards that you guys have asked me for, and I was like, yeah, I have it. It came in the Charmer deck of all things, which everyone's like, ew, the Charmer deck.
Yeah, the Charmer one too. Like, it's the Charmer and Trap Trick deck. Like, 2 of them are just like so goated for all these. I need this really weirdly specific card. And you go, I have it because it came in this deck. And I go, it's like Konami knows what I'm thinking.
Like the Charmer deck, one of the Raigeki, like when you were like, I need Raigekis, surprisingly. I was like, how many do you need? Because Raigeki came in 3 of those. I already had a playset of Raigeki or more. So I was like, how many? And everything. And then it was like Josh here was like, I need the Fire Spirit art and like this
it was the Fire Spirit art and the Inari, the one that summons itself from deck.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I got those. Because I bought the 3 Charmer decks. Because when that happened,
I did too. I have no idea where my Inaris went. And I was so sad.
When it happened, it was actually not because I wanted to play Charmers at that time. What it actually was is I was going to start buying every structure deck, and then I just never did. I was going to buy like multiple copies of every structure, and then just never actually got around to doing that. But
talk about the Ice Barrier one and how much that one popped off.
Michael, I do have the Fiendsmith stuff for you.
Okay.
Do you have a spare Requiem?
I have 1 copy of it, dude.
Do you know if you had a spare? It's $2. I don't know if you picked up an extra.
No, I barely picked up what I have here.
You can let him borrow the Requiem. I own Requiem.
No, I don't need it for the main event.
Okay. Because I have everything except for Engraver and Lurie for the Fiendsmith.
Yeah, I thought you bought everything.
Full
I ended
disclosure.
up picking up the Fiendsmith stuff because I thought, I'm just gonna play Fiendsmith Sprite one of these days, or I'm gonna find a Fiendsmith deck I want to play. Might as well have it laying around, or I'll find someone that needs all of it and just flip it to them.
It is funny that
Full disclosure, I'm playing. I plan on playing Fiendsmith, Magical Musketeer, like side events and any regionals that are coming up. So
nice. I think that even if I don't stick with Fiendsmith tier, I'm probably gonna just keep playing tier until it finally gets power crept, which is gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a long one. At that point, you just play tier Lightsworn, big chaos pile. Go bird.
That deck's so bad.
Don't play Lightsworn.
The Lightsworn.
Don't ever play Lightsworn.
Listen, I know a lot of the people in the tier group love it, and yes, the end boards are way more insane. But the plays are way more telegraphed, and so if you actually play against good players that aren't like the AI and just don't fire their stuff and everything just to fire them to their negates and stuff and their hand traps, you're gonna lose. Like Stefan played against it, ashed it once or something like that, and it died. And then Stefan plays against me, and he's drolled me, ashed me, and like impermed me, and I've still gone off. And so it's like
I used my whole hand to stop him, and I'm just sitting there looking at like 2 cards going, and he's just like, "I could do this all day," and I just go, "I'm sorry, Captain. I know you can."
It's so like
it's like that meme where he's just running past the other Captain America in the movie, and he's just running past him. That's just Michael against me. I'm sitting here going.
But that's my take on the deck. It's like if you tried to play tier Punk, because there was an argument for it when Magic Dragon was a thing, and because Foxy doesn't discard for cost, it sends for effect and everything.
Yeah, I think it sends.
So you could fuse with it, and but that was like one of the arguments for it. But I think that version loses too hard to draw. But Tier doesn't usually lose to Droll. Tier, the only hand traps Tier usually loses to is Shifter, and it can lose to Bestials and DD Crows and stuff like that too. But like it's usually just Shifter that's like the real Hail Mary, and that's why like there is no hand traps that get played during Tier format really outside of Bestials and Crows. So the hand traps, I think that like making your decks more susceptible to them is the reason I don't like the Lightsworn one. But back to Pros quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! And how everybody keeps clickbaiting it.
I forgot I quit you guys.
Pros quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's just Jessica. I think that like overall, like I said, if you're not having fun with the game, then obviously step away from it. I encourage people to find new hobbies, but I agree with this Twitter post I saw. I think Scarlon said it, or maybe it was Dyer, but one of them said that if you are playing a game you hate over a game you enjoy for just because you can get money, then you're not, or something like that, or it doesn't make sense pretty much to do that. I don't remember the exact thing that they said.
It's just like there's no point.
Yeah, I think that
I hate Yu-Gi-Oh! Honestly.
At least you can admit it.
I love to hate Yu-Gi-Oh! Though. Like, I passionately love sitting there and complaining when the hand is bad. But I've also taken breaks by just working.
I both love and hate Yu-Gi-Oh! I will say it.
Yeah.
I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Feels like I can do literally anything within reason inside this card game, and I feel like I can I can just play every card I get, and that's like really fun to me. But I don't love Yu-Gi-Oh! Because sometimes it feels like the format sucks and everything's just like against you in like the worst possible way. And what I usually do then is I just like slow down in playing, especially like Master Duel, right? I haven't played a lot of Master Duel this season because honestly, it's just the last few seasons of Master Duel have not been fun. So I've just been like getting to Diamond and stopping instead of climbing all the way up to Master, because once you hit like Diamond is like where a lot more of the unfun decks are. And same with Platinum, there's like a lot of unfun decks in Platinum to play against. So it's one of those things that I'll just slow down on playing, and it's really easy for me to do that. But Yu-Gi-Oh is a game that ever since I started playing it again as like an 18-year-old, I have loved it. Like almost everything. There's few formats I hated. I hated the whole year almost of FTKs and hand loops and the extra linking that happened right before toss format that really led up to that. Gumblar loops and then
that year though, I bet you we could go back on the history of the channel and just see not very many videos.
Yeah. If you It's funny though because it's like other card games have that period too where there's like kind of a dark age, right, or a dark year of like things. So
we had it happen 3 formats in a row is the issue.
Well, it was a whole year is why.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's like one of our dark years. Is like I think it's like 2018 or 2019. Probably like 2019. I think is the dark year is what I would say of Yu-Gi-Oh. And like one of the worst years is because of that. Magic's is 2021 because if you go back and like a lot of people are like, oh well, in 2021 this happened, or no, it was League of Legends worst year was 2021. That's when like a lot of broken stuff, it just kind of broke the game wide open, stuff like that. Magic's, I don't remember one in particular. There's always people complaining about Magic and some are worse than others, but like yeah, since I started playing in Magic, I can't think of one. I just kind of lost interest in that game over time. But like, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is biased. I'm obviously biased because I run a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. But I honestly do believe Yu-Gi-Oh is the best card game. And like in terms of like, I think it's the best. I think you have the most versatile. It is also one of the most easy to access games. Like Master Duel is free, and Master Duel is very generous with what its gems do and stuff like that. You can build any one deck you want on Master Duel. If you know what you're doing, you can do it and everything like that. You don't even need like a ton of gems to usually do it. You can usually always build at least one, and if you are willing to grind, you can build more. But I think that's great. I don't ever plan on getting sponsored by Konami anyway, so I will just mention these things by name. Project Ignis and Dueling Book are free, and they're easy to access. And if Dueling Book is closer to the actual card game, and it's an in-client thing where you have access to all the cards and you can just play whatever deck you want. You just got to learn the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh. Project Ignis is a simulator where you get all the cards for free and you can play it because we have tech nerds in our thing apparently, and maybe Wizards is just like heavy-handed with suing or whatever. I couldn't tell you.
I genuinely think it's because Magic is such a niche. Don't get me wrong, Yu-Gi-Oh is a niche, but Magic always felt like it was such a niche that it didn't matter where I came from. If I didn't know someone in a Magic community and I tried to step into it, a lot of times they were super awkward about it, or if they found out you'd played Yu-Gi-Oh or you play Yu-Gi-Oh or you play any other game that they really don't like, they just don't have anything to do with you. Well, a lot of tech nerd weirdos like
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah.
Called a slur for playing Yu-Gi-Oh once.
Like it's genuinely
player,
like I played Magic a lot at one point, and like people would get like I feel like they'd get so tilted because they'd be like, "You're that Yu-Gi-Oh player." I am. Oh,
yeah,
and then I'd beat them in a draft, and they'd be like, "But you're that Yu-Gi-Oh player." I am.
I also, and this is just my personal experience, maybe on why we have these simulators more is not just because of tech things, but I've also noticed that Yu-Gi-Oh players in general, the average like Yu-Gi-Oh player tends to be like a lot younger, and not just like, and not like little kids younger. I'm talking like, I mean, there are little kids that play, but it's like it's usually between the ages of like 18 to like 40 and everything that play. Whereas Magic, I have seen, I think on average it's like 20s to like 50s and possibly higher. So like on average I see more older players, and that's probably because Magic is the first like trading card game. It's like the actual first one that's an actual game where you trade cards and everything. It's like it's literally the first one that is like the current format of how we know trading cards today. So, and I think because of that, and once again, I live in Oregon and Washington in the Pacific Northwest type of area where Magic originated.
Is a brand. It's like a football team. It's like, you're not a Magic, you're not into Magic. You was invented here. You have to be. No son of mine is a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Yeah, so like maybe
no son of mine plays Pokemon.
That could also be why, is that we happen to live in the Pacific Northwest, and that's where Magic was made. But,
when I lived in Colorado in school, we all just played Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh had the most sticking power there. Like, honestly, it's so weird to think, like, even in high school, I could find people to play Yu-Gi-Oh with. And there were some Magic people, but they were actually the minority, borrowing cards from their parents' collections and playing amongst themselves.
See, in like elementary school, I only ever found Yu-Gi-Oh players. Like, we all collected Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon. Magic sucked to us.
Magic
looked boring to us. That was the thing. Magic looked boring, and then you have like the cool Pokemon, like Lugia and Kyogre, or Yu-Gi-Oh, where you had like these giant dragons and shit.
It is funny,
superheroes.
It is funny that I like two very different styles of play in Yu-Gi-Oh and compared to Magic, and I like, because in Magic my goal is to play a control deck. I love playing control decks because I feel the most skill expression, and also I just like watching my opponent, just like the misery that comes with it.
It's funny because in Magic I love aggro and mid-range, or even combos. I love combo-y decks.
And then in Yu-Gi-Oh,
Aetherwork Marvel was my favorite deck. I wasn't really good at control or anything, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm control. Like, and then most of the decks I play, I'm complete control.
And in Commander, I'm just straight control. Like, my Turgid deck was messing up the local scene for a while.
So
and I loved it, hated it.
Yeah. So for Yu-Gi-Oh, I love the combo decks. I love the very aggressive style decks. I don't like the mid-range decks in either game, actually, which is really funny. I really hate Salamangreat. Salamangreat's a mid-range deck, but I really hate that deck. Because you know what's frustrating about that deck is it always feels like
it's the red Marincess.
Technically,
Salamangreat was first. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but it's really weird because it's one of those decks
on waifu
that it is one of those decks though that it feels like it can do more and it should do more, but you can't. And I feel so very limited when I play it, and that's what frustrates me. It's because I know I can keep summoning, but if I do, my board's gonna get worse, and that's what really frustrates me about it. Is I can't keep going, and and I know when to stop in tier, because tier's like you keep going until a certain point, and then you should probably stop.
Yeah, critical mass.
Yeah. But like, and Sprite's similar, and like
I love Sprite. No, Sprite's like hacking, because you go, I do this, and the opponent goes, it resolves. You resolve it, and you go, anything? And the opponent goes, no, and you go, I'm in.
Yeah. But, as long as I have a level 2 on board, let's fucking go.
But yeah, but like that's why I don't like mid-range decks, is because it always feels like they can do more, but you never should. And that's what frustrates me, and so I'm like, I don't like it. And with why I don't like mid range in like Magic is that it's very fair feeling. As like bad as that sounds, it feels very fair and by contrast it's very boring. Because I want to fucking just be like, oh no, I'm losing, I'm winning now with control.
I'm winning now.
Or I want to pub stomp with aggro and just go whoop.
I'm genuinely surprised you don't like Paleozoic, because Paleozoic is, oh no, I'm losing, and then the opponent goes, I do this, you go, now I'm winning.
Paleo's okay. In general, like control decks in Yu-Gi-Oh at most are usually like okay to me. Because to me, when you set 5, that is the pinnacle of your turn. That is the best you could do. Like there isn't like a.
I've set 5 before and just sat there, and the opponent goes, Harpy's Feather Duster, and I just go,
That's why Denko.
same board.
That's why Denko. Oh.
God, that Denko. Oh, I get chest pains from it. Like, I sit there and I go, this hurts.
Dear viewer,
it really hurts.
If you ever want to see someone lose all the color in their face, if they're playing a Paleozoic deck or a Labyrinth deck and they didn't Labyrinth specifically, if they didn't summon like any of the ladies, right, like Lady of the Labyrinth or like Lovely, right, turn 1, and they just set like a bunch of cards, summon Denko, because the only monster that they can attack over Denko with, if you summon Denko on a Labyrinth player, is, I think your name is Arion. It's the 1800 one that's pink. That's the only one that they can actually attack.
They don't play it,
and they don't play it anymore. It used to be a one of, because they just wanted an extra name, but now they don't play it at all.
You just have to literally draw into monsters, which you're not playing many of them in the modern builds, but in the older ones, you had to draw into Swap Frog and a water monster and resolve that, make a toad to get over the Denko. It doesn't happen. It never happens.
I miss early Labyrinth. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, with Labyrinth and with Paleo, if they play Feather Duster or on you or Lightning Storm, you're not like super happy about it, but you can play through it. If you play
usually I can set up.
Yeah, but if you Denko them, there's nothing they can do. And it like, I've literally watched Stefan here when I play Denko just draw like the facial expression go and everything kind of serious and everything in terms of like what he's playing and like kind of happy that he's playing Paleo, and I went Denko and it just like this like all the color gone.
Like it goes from, and then suddenly it turns into,
and they can't, and Denko doesn't activate. So once it hit, if the summon isn't negated, it's just off.
Everywhere I go, I see her.
I have solemn judgmented that. Like, you went Denko and I went Judgment, and it was just like the biggest, most powerful thing ever.
Yeah.
Red reboot.
That would have been funny. You know, it'd also been funny.
I was waiting for it.
If I went double summon and then summoned a second one, but it never happened.
I was waiting for that too.
It never happened, but that would have been so funny.
You run every thought experiment through your head of what will happen when you flip the Judgment on that thing, and sometimes, you just go, they could have it, and I could just lose. But here goes half my life points.
It's very much I guess, like, I have to. But yeah, Denko was like that. Same thing with Amano Iwata, but that one was more specifically for, like, True Draco played Amano Iwata. Just a boulder.
Listen, I'll never forget the one Shino Bird player that got me because they can summon it from the deck. And we're ignoring summoning.
And it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
The one Shino Bird player that got me.
He's just hanging out there. He's like, Amon.
It's not just a boulder. It's a rock.
Oh, man.
It's a rock.
Because neither of those effects activate. They just happened. They are once it happens, and it's just
it's just there.
It's like the one regional where I just playing Paleozoic and I slap down a barrier statue of water, and the Lightsworn player looks at it and goes, "Oh," and he's trying to break out of this, and I'm like, he's going to summon Abyss Dweller. He's got to summon the Abyss Dweller. And his buddy comes over and looks at the fairy statue of, Torrent, the water one, and he goes, oh no. And just kind of walks away. And then I get his buddy next round, which I've already faced this guy before in our regional. He's like, you faced my friend last round with the statue. And I'm like, yeah. And he is all, dude, actually took out Abyss Dweller from his deck. And I went, I was waiting for it and it never came.
Yeah, I think.
Oh my god. Well, I was playing the Runic Ice Barrier deck and I got someone with the Water Barrier statue. Because we could just summon it from deck because of the Deep Sea Prima Donna, the Synchro. Because you return one of their banished cards that you banish off your Runic spell to their hand, and you just summon the Water Barrier statue from deck and say, good luck, duelist.
I'm surprised you haven't tried that on me, Stefan, to do that with tier, because it's an aqua. So like with the Mannequin Cat, you can just, if I have a tier name, yeah. But like you always
it doesn't stop enough.
True.
So the thing is you can tribute summon. Most of the things I run sideboard, I can tribute summon, and you've seen me do it. Like,
yeah,
I've done it. Like, it's. But the problem is the barrier statue doesn't meld as well because it's 1,000 attack. So if you have to waste your normal summon on it, and it also kind of locks you out, and they can get over it as easily, it's not as good. In a Paleozoic deck, you have 4 back row to back that guy up.
That's fair. Because, like, I was gonna say, it doesn't do anything versus me anyway, or doesn't do enough versus me anyway, because Rukalos is water, and so is,
enough of your deck is water.
Yeah.
I play cards that just straight up say, no, you don't play.
But, I think, overall, though, we've talked about everything I think we need to talk about in terms of, like, the whole quitting Yu-Gi-Oh thing.
Yeah.
And everything, because pretty much I think we've come to a decision, unless like Josh has a different opinion and just isn't saying it.
I guess my only thing is, like, if you're worried about, like, if you want cash prizing's not going to happen. I do agree the pricing needs to be improved upon. Like, give us like a special rarity and print like hand traps or staples in that rarity or something.
Oh, like I saw someone suggest full art cards, right?
Those would be neat.
That'd be neat. It'd be a little rough. I think what they should do is like a mixture
full art,
of like
except for like name, and it was literally it was actually more of Magic's extended borders, right, where they don't have the actual border, and it has like a YCS thing down there. And
I also agree that if you make top 8 in Worlds or even in Nationals or something, there should be at least a little bit more than just the biddy price.
Yeah.
The bare minimum. Like, you make top 8 in Worlds, I expect that you at least get something cool,
Get like a Starlight sheet or some shit. Like,
I think that would actually be a great idea for like Worlds specifically. How top 8 get like a Starlight sheet. Or a QCR sheet for this year, right? Get a whole sheet of them.
Or a giant QCR of like something.
Give them something cool, because even if they don't want to keep that cool thing, which a lot of them will, at least give them something that they can sell and
give them something better than a Switch.
Yeah.
But no, my thing so hold on. I'll make my point about prize cards.
Okay.
Prize cards should be playable, but they should be reprints of stuff like a hybrid ghost parallel rare Ash Blossom.
Okay.
And have a ghost rare with that parallel foiling on top of it.
That'd be sick. Yeah, like
I could vibe with that.
That'd be sick.
Make it the most bedazzled card ever of a really relevant card, so they can be like, I got this really cool thing. Who wants it?
No, literally.
As long as if it's a card that's already out, make it like a really always make it. It should always be a card that's already out and a card that's super playable. That's my honest opinion. Because, I agree. I think that would be really sweet. Like, if it's Ash Blossom, like what was mentioned, or
like a
Droll,
ghost rare, or
like a Droll Unlock, or stuff like that. That's only in for like this weird. You could make a whole
season.
You could make a whole new rarity for this too, if you really wanted to, and just have
That's why I was suggesting like
Champion's rare, man.
That's why I was suggesting like the ghost parallel hybrid, like.
Oh yeah, I could see it.
That'd be sick.
or what was it? Was it Parallel Rare, or was it like called something else where it had a box? Like there's streaks that were like that made a box. You know,
I think it was the Parallel. Like I'm thinking of like the old Mattel like cards. You know,
I have a couple of those laying around. I think someone asked me, "What is that?" I'm like, "Old Mattel card."
yeah.
Let me see.
So that's what like those old Parallel rares where like just have that finish on top of a Ghoster like Ash Blossom or something like that. Perfect prize card.
It's hard to see, but like
Yeah.
Yeah, the skull dice.
That's the old.
You just have a
prismatic
skull
feature.
dice laying around.
Yeah, it's beat up. I've had it since I was a little kid.
That's the old prismatic.
The
That's
thing
the old
is so
prismatic
cool.
secrets.
Yeah, that's the old prismatics. Yeah.
Okay, that's
the
what
Mattel one you're talking. Yeah.
prismatic. Then
Yeah.
you can make a ghost in prismatic because these streaks go through like almost the whole card. I used to have graceful dice too because they came in a pair on one of the video games.
But I think your copies might have just had foil bleed because they're only supposed to go on the picture, but like the parallels go on like over the entire card.
Okay, so yeah, just because I think these prismatics are like the coolest rare and everything that they've ever done. I don't like ghosts as much as I like these, but yeah, like that would be really cool. I can get behind that because I think that like when cards were unique, that was a problem, right? Especially if they became
when they had Minerva being a prize card, that was a problem.
Or Giant Hand to a lesser extent, but Giant Hand was still relevant, like when it first came out. Same thing with especially Crush Card.
Oh,
Crush Card was a huge one. So was Gold Sark, because the game when Gold Sark was a prize card was slow enough that you would actually get that card.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. So like it actually was like a thing and everything. So yeah, I think that like that would be really cool.
Special rarity, like next season could be like the Ash Blossom, and then the next season would be like Nibiru or whatever.
Sure. Or and then the season after that, some other like staple card that has seen play for over the years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I would say Shifter and everything, but I'm pretty sure
Get the fuck out of here! You're a tier player. Don't mention that.
I know Shifter's probably getting hit. Like I literally.
Oh,
can't,
I hope Shifter gets the fucking axe.
I can't imagine Shifter is gonna make it to the end of 2025. I
really hope so. If Shifter comes out, if Shifter's still legal and that Malice deck comes out,
well, okay.
That's not a good time.
So Malice, I guess we can talk about those 3 decks, right? Because I haven't tried the tri-type deck that they do. I don't remember what they're called. I haven't tried that one. I haven't tried Raizo either, the rank 4 one. But I've tried Malice.
I heard that's sick.
But the rank 4 deck, I know. So Malice was my initial pick for what I think is going to be good on initial card read. But then I played the deck and I realized they need more names, because that's like one of the big things is they actually just need more like main deck monsters.
Yeah.
And they need like a Link 2. Because they're linked.
I just remembered the joke I made about that deck.
Yeah. Raziel is the thing that Raziel or whatever they're called. The rank 4 spam deck that locks you into rank 4s, I think it's like that's like what the what's it called? That is what like a lot of YouTubers are predicting is going to be the best deck after all the cards that we saw from them, because like their field spell is just when this thing resolves, negate, so it doesn't activate. It just detach negates something, and it doesn't activate, so it gets around cards that can't be responded to, because it does it on resolution and everything, just like the Cerulean Skyfire, I think, for Haman, and how that can negate Super Poly. Because it doesn't activate, it just happens on resolution. But like so I know that deck has a lot of hype because the only thing it locks you into is rank 4s. Malice has a decent amount of hype because the only thing it actually locks you into is Link monsters, which is the most broken summoning mechanic. And then the other one is like it locks you into Worm, Sea Serpent, Dinosaur, and Dragons. So like you could still do a lot of things, but my issue is I don't know what that deck does other than like thing. I think that if anything, if that deck makes it big, it's not gonna be that deck. It's gonna be cards from that deck making a splash into other decks. That's my take on all these. I think Malice is probably good. I just don't know a lot about Cybers in order to make a educated guess about it. Because I know that they can summon everything and all that, and they don't. You can just summon spam.
So they're only really locked in the links.
Yeah.
And like that, like they have the not just the splash mage into eventually access code line, but what they can do is they can do the transcode talker and Cybers or not Wicked, but the
splash mage.
Oh no, the wind dude.
Oh yeah. Wicked.
That makes it able to attack twice.
Oh, that's the update jammer, yeah.
Update jammer, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do that line as well because they're a cyber stack.
Yeah, I know. The problem is
it's like,
at least from playing against Stefan Sprite with it, is it does fold at the current point to like getting interacted with and everything, really. Like you can play through certain kinds of interaction, but like it starts like slowing down and falling apart if you don't get very specific cards. Like Shifter is really, really good. But Shifter, the problem... So, it's really hard to evaluate that deck because there's a lot of non-bows in it if you run, like, Shifter and Signet Mining. Signet Mining, the send sends to grave for cost to search. So, if you have them under... So, if you're under Shifter, you can't do it. And you also can't Droll under Shifter as well. And Droll is almost a necessary card to be able to run. So, like, there are... like issues with the deck with running Shifter. Now, if you're talking about like it does get the things, and Shifter is good against it because it's good against a lot of decks. Same thing with Macro and Di-Fi. The problem is that they, in honest opinion, from playing that deck, the field spell is busted for that deck, but not because of the second effect. You're never getting the second effect. The one that buffs all your things by 3,000, never gonna get it. It's not gonna happen. It's broken because it banishes one from your hand, graveyard, or a deck, and that's why it's busted. The three main deck monsters are all good. If anything, we need one that summons from hand, like banish from graveyard to summon one from hand, because we don't have that. I think that that's what that deck like really needs, and we might get it, but like, because not all the cards are revealed. But that's my take on it. I don't know if that deck will be meta. It's hard to tell. Blue Eyes with the new support, I know people are hyped about it.
It's Blue Eyes.
But it's Blue Eyes. Like,
speaking of Blue Eyes, sorry, continue.
Okay, so like the best thing you can do in that deck is Calamity Lock. But like, but once they figure out what they're doing, it's actually really easy to just kind of get around that and stuff like that. It's not like that hard of a thing to out. The second best thing I've seen is people summon Magia and summon like Blazar, which okay. But you have to play like Chaos Max and like all these bad cards in order to do it. And like it's like a 1.5 card starter to 2 cards things to get to this end board, and you could get it fairly consistency. But that deck lives and dies by Droll and Lockbird. So and Shifter and DD Crow and like all these cards that people are playing and stuff like that. That deck lives and dies by cards that are like already getting played. So I don't envision that deck ever actually getting like meta. But you had a point you wanted to make?
Oh, nothing. I was just excited because I was in my OTS today. Was digging through the bulk. I found a copy of an ultra rare Mausoleum of White, and those things are like $6 right now in the bulk. I found it in the bulk, so yeah.
I need to look if I have any of those, I guess.
Yeah, you want to look for ultra rares of those, and ultra rares of Ultimate Fusion are like the cards to look at right now. Also, that weird Blue Eyes fusion that came out in the same tin as Nibiru. Yeah, things like $15-16 right now.
Are you talking about
was
Tyrant Dragon, the one that it summons itself out and can attack everything and sets traps back? That one, or is it like
it's alternative ultimate?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I think money because it's the only print, and it was drawn by Kazuki Takahashi and Blue Eye support.
Yeah,
so
that's like that card makes sense. Same thing with Neo. Neo Blue Eyes kind of makes sense if it increased in price because Neo is like the best card to equip. But yeah, I get it. I think we've rambled on long.
No, Neo's not the best card to equip because equipping Neo doesn't get you to Magia.
No, it doesn't. But it is one of the better cards to just have in the grave because it has.
True.
Because if you get it in the grave, then it's just cool.
Yeah.
Social experiment. If you go to a locals that I've gone to before and meet up with me IRL, say that you've actually survived the video this long, and you could be a proud owner of Ignis Master Packbit in some weird rarity that looks like it's awful. What was that rarity again? Oh, is that the 25th?
It's a quarter century?
Yeah, it's a quarter century.
What if I want? Where'd you get that?
Pulled it from pity packs a long time ago.
Want it?
Personally,
I mean,
if after a couple of weeks no one actually does claim this, you can have it, Josh.
That's the only time I'm gonna allow you to do this. By the way, I'll say it right here on this podcast. The same one you did it. I don't like giveaways, even if it's just a social experiment like that. And I think that they build followings disingenuously. So
no, I'm not trying to disingenuously do it. I'm kind of
just say you're trying to get
curious.
Trevor.
All right, giveaway time, guys.
This is to get Trevor.
All right. All right, so we're gonna end it here because Josh said giveaway. So we're just gonna end it here. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday! Be sure to click the video, and of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.